Good evening and welcome to the SRX broadcast. It's split broadcasting 1 hour earlier than the normal time, trying to test the waters a little bit to see how this shapes up. But we are going to be here for a 50 lap tilt at the Lucas Oil Dirt Oval. So lots of dirt oval racing ahead of us here tonight. And just waiting for the session to go up. Looks like we got 6 people in here, so it's gone official. 6 people is the minimum amount, but hey, as long as we got 6, that's more than enough, or that's actually just enough, for a race to take place. So SOF for this is going to be 1,865. So we will get a feed going of this in just 1 second when the session loads. Okay, got a feed going up here. Practice just wrapping up right now. As fastest in practice right now is Indy Kirkenbauer with a 17.092 fastest lap in practice. So practice has just wrapped up. And now it is time for qualifying. Take a look at Indy Kirkenbauer. As he gets out on track to start his first lap. Starting his first lap going low this time in the Wednesday split. Everyone was using the high line. Maybe it's the track state changing. But Indy Kirkenbauer electing to use that bottom lane around this track. And let's see what time he sets coming across the stripe. It's going to be a 17.167. Fastest qualifying lap of the week so far by car number 1. Gets it really close to that outside wall, trying to use as much throttle as he can to keep that car with a forward momentum. Gonna try and get as much as he can across the stripe. 17.093 for Indy Kirkenbauer as he goes into the wall and around. Good lap from Kirkenbauer. Taking a look at Will Gibson in car number 2. Came in at the last second to make this race go official. 17.231 first lap for Will Gibson. Second time around, let's see if he can get a little bit better time. Coming across the stripe, it's going to be just about the same. 17.229 for Gibson, but moving up into second, it's car number 3, Wesley Dunphy. So 5 out of the 7 registered cars have qualified. But you know what? This actually gives us a pretty good opportunity. Let's take a
typical iRacing, going from a great prep track to a dog.
Let's take a peek about the track. Ooh. I'm trying to get the dang thing to work. Okay. So as you can see, the dirt course is right here, just outside of turn 2. But if we look at the track state, not much of a cushion being built up here. This track is very used up. Not much of a cushion built up at all. So the fastest line, I think, is going to be running that bottom lane. But here at Lucas Oil, you can't really see it too well. But this is a pretty good angle. This plateau right here by the wall, there's a little bit of a discoloration between the banking and this little flat area, and you can lose a lot of time if you go up there, and it is very hard to see that. Just wanted to give a little bit of insight because that's what makes this track a little bit unique, is that it has those flat areas on the outside of the corner. So if you overdo it in the corners, it is very easy to lose at least a half a second or more, assuming how in control you keep the car. But everyone has gridded. So 5 out of the 7 cars that have registered for this event have gridded. So we will have almost a full field for the minimum of official, but 5 drivers, and a lot of these drivers are on pretty equal time to each other. I think really the only outlier is Indy Kirkenbauer by about 1/10 per lap. But it all depends if we see a rare mistake from car number 1. But I think this midfield group of Gibson, Dunphy, and Bremer, and maybe even Nico Cipollini, is going to make a very interesting battle throughout this 50-lap event. One more time around the track. Your pace car is in turn number 2. So Indy Kirkenbauer gonna have more than enough time to choose when he wants to go in that Votive Racing number 1 SRX car. Got Wesley Dunphy on his outside. Starting in third, it's Will Gibson, and then in fourth, it's Chad Bremer. Green flag is out, and rounding out your field, it's Nico Cipollini in car number 5. I realized I forgot to do a starting grid for this race. But either way, Kirkenbauer out to an early lead. Dunphy trying to run that high line. Here comes Gibson on the bottom, side by side for second, as Kirkenbauer trying to run the bottom as best as he can. Try and pull away from Gibson. Gibson's going to try and get clear of Dunphy coming out of turn number 2. Not clear just yet, but he's nosing ahead through the center of the corner. He's going to get clear of Dunphy right now. Will he try to slide up in front? Yes, he will. So move car number 2 into the second position. Dunphy really sending it in on the outside. Almost got into Gibson. Lucky that no contact was made. Fastest lap of the race right now, just set by car number 1, Indy Kirkenbauer, with a 17.1 flat. See further in the back as, I just realized my ticker isn't going up. Oopsie. There we go. Further in the back, Chad Bremer watching this battle for second between Gibson and Dunphy unfold. Bremer really sent it in right there. He's going to try to get that high line to work out. Nico Cipollini kind of testing the waters to see how this works out. You can see Dunphy getting all sorts of close to the back end of Gibson on corner entry. Luckily, no contact has been made between the two. Dunphy knowing the limits of this SRX car, but Kirkenbauer currently out to a 1.1 second lead over Will Gibson as they exit turn 2. Sees a little bit of loose dirt getting kicked up on that high line. It's going to provide some extra grip to cars if they can get their right rear tire into that line. You see Wesley Dunphy trying to get that right rear tire into that built up dirt. It's gonna be a little bit till more of that forms with only 5 cars on the track right now. But Kirkenbauer still leading. Chad Bremer and Nico Cipollini doing battle for 4th place right now. Cars 4 and 5 battling it out. Cipollini on the inside and then Bremer on the top side. Bremer's going to get the run and keep Cipollini at bay, but Cipollini is trying his best to use that inside line. Oh, big sideways moment for car number 5. Ooh, we saw Gibson get into the wall a little bit right there. Down the back straightaway. Gibson's trying to catch up to Kirkenbauer. Cut the gap to under a second entering turn 1. As, Kirkenbauer got really sideways on entry there. Maybe Gibson can make up a little bit of time. Gibson's starting to use that high line and kind of angle the car down the track. I think it's helping him just a smidge. Yeah, he was exactly a 10th faster that time by than Kirkenbauer. Dunphy trying to follow in the footsteps as both cars 1 and 2 tap the wall down the back straightaway. Lap 12 out of 50 in the books. And Will Gibson trying to make up some ground on Andy Kirkenbauer for the lead. I think Gibson's gaining a lot of it on entry. You can see Kirkenbauer is having to slow down a lot. No, hitting the wall like that, too, is not going to help him out, as that messes up his entry. So he loses a little bit more time to Gibson. Gibson really using that loose dirt on entry for extra rear grip. The gap is now within 0.6 of a second for the lead. A very different race than the one on Wednesday. The one on Wednesday had me and Indy Kirkenbauer dueling on the high side for the entire race. Right here, it is Will Gibson and Indy Kirkenbauer doing battle in the middle, trying to search for that kicked up dirt. Both these drivers running very similar lap times. But Kirkenbauer got 2 sideways, side by side for the lead, almost between Kirkenbauer and Gibson. Kirkenbauer is going to try and hook that bottom lane. Here comes Gibson in the middle, trying to use that high line to his advantage. Does he try to jump to the bottom here? No, he doesn't. He's going to try to work the long way around Gibson, or he's going to try to work the long way around Indy. Kirkenbauer going to protect that high side in first. If they keep battling like this, we might see Wesley Dunphy join the mix. He's only about a second behind Will Gibson. If they battle each other and eventually throw some sliders, as whoa, Gibson got really close to Kirkenbauer right there. Like I was saying, if they slow each other up, this might allow Wesley Dunphy to join into the fray. But Gibson sliding back just a little bit that time by. Kirkenbauer had a really good corner. But I tell you what, Gibson's doing a great job keeping this car very pointed through the corners, and that's allowing him to keep up more speed through the corners and stay on the back end of Kirkenbauer. but I think Kirkenbauer has found the line that works for Gibson, and had a little bit of an oopsie on the bottom. Got really sideways on entry, and that's going to close the gap between him and Gibson. Approaching halfway here. Kirkenbauer still using that inside line. Gibson using that high line. Both these drivers have pulled away from Wesley Dunphy. Dunphy about 1.5 seconds behind, but Kirkenbauer in the wall down the back straight. So Kirkenbauer doing everything that he can to try and hold on to that one car. As Gibson gets in the wall a little bit down the front straight here. Just approaching halfway. It's like Kirkenbauer starting to pull away from Will Gibson. Gibson gonna try the bottom lane, try to get something working there. But both these drivers running very similar lap times. Let's see, last time by, Kirkenbauer 17.385 and Gibson 17.430. So it looks like Kirkenbauer has found his line. Gibson trying to make up some ground to Kirkenbauer. 22 laps to go here at Lucas Oil. That gap now increasing from first to second to about 0.8 of a second. Nico Cipollini goes around. A little bit of contact with him and Kirkenbauer. Bad spot for Cipollini to go around. But it looks like he's gotten everything resolved with that. Only a little bit of contact between him and Kirkenbauer. But that closes the gap between Kirkenbauer and Gibson. Gibson gonna try that high line once again. Tell you what, Kirkenbauer is doing a good job of running all the lanes on this track. He's good at running the bottom, and he's very good at running the top. But give credit to Will Gibson too. He's been sticking on to Kirkenbauer, not letting him get away too easily. Gibson with a good corner right there, trying to keep that one car within reach here at Lucas Oil. But man, Kirkenbauer is getting that right rear so close to that backstretch wall, and Gibson's just grazing it. I think it's compromising his entry into turn 3 a little bit whenever he barely taps that wall. Ooh, yeah, we saw Kirkenbauer scrape the wall just a smidge. It's definitely difficult to try and gauge where that little plateau is on the high side. You can see it's about half a car length from Gibson's right rear tire in turn 1 and 2. But now both drivers run the bottom in 1 and 2. Gibson still keeping within touch of car number 1. Looks like he's just more comfortable running that high line, while Indy is very committed to running the bottom here. Oh, a little bit of wall contact for car 1. This might be a chance for Gibson to make up some ground. It's like not yet. 12 laps to go here. More wall contact for Kirkenbauer, and I think he went a little bit over the edge for a second. Gibson went really high up and lost some time doing that. Both of them running about equal lap times here. Gibson really trying to give it his all. Kirkenbauer doing everything that he can to keep that 2 car behind him. See just how early Kirkenbauer is sliding it into the corners here to get that car slowed down. As you can see just how close these cars are getting in the center of the corner with 10 laps to go. These guys are not playing around. Gibson's trying to turn on the afterburners here while Kirkenbauer is doing everything that he can to keep that 2 car behind him. A little bit of wall contact again from car number 1. But they're keeping it straight here. Big slide from Kirkenbauer. Gibson trying to use all of that loose dirt up top to build up a charge. Kirkenbauer in the wall again down the back straightaway. But Gibson way high up the track. That's going to get him a little bit sideways. He's going to lose some time to Kirkenbauer right there. Now both drivers running the high side, but Gibson getting a little bit too high up and losing some extra time. I don't know who was making that racket. Oh, Chad Bremer with some issues in turns 1 and 2. But 6 laps to go. Kirkenbauer has brought that gap out to about 0.8 of a second. Gibson running out of time to make a move on Kirkenbauer. Hasn't really been able to make much of a move, but has gotten really close to that 1 car. He's going to need a little bit of a mistake from Kirkenbauer, I think, if he wants to have a shot within these next 4 laps. Now Kirkenbauer running the high line, trying to keep that car as pointed as possible before flinging it into turns 1 and 2. See a little bit of dirt being kicked up on that second groove right there. But 2 laps to go. Indy Kirkenbauer with about 0.7 of a second ahead of Will Gibson. Coming to the white flag in turns 3 and 4. Kirkenbauer doing everything he can to keep that car pointed straight. White flag in the air for Indy Kirkenbauer. He's got one more time around Lucas Oil in Wheatland, Missouri to get the SRX broadcast a split win. One more set of corners. All you need to do is not bottle this. And it's going to be Indy Kirkenbauer starting on pole and taking home a hard-fought win in the SRX broadcasted split here at Lucas Oil. A great race put on between him and Will Gibson. Will Gibson just barely short of getting into a position where he could have made a move, but he kept it close all race. Great job to both drivers, and great job to everyone who showed up to make this race official. So let's get your 5 finishers up on the board real quick. Andy Kirkenbauer comes home with the win, and Will Gibson in second. Wesley Dunphy comes home in third, then Chad Bremer in fourth, and Nico Cipollini rounding out the field of starters here at Lucas Oil. A perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for cars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here at Lucas Oil. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I know 5 drivers isn't a crazy amount, but it did go official, and that's why I'm broadcasting it, and they put on a darn good show. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Big thanks to SKS Graphics and Andrew Schulte for their ticker help and help with the tickers. Big thanks to everyone who showed up for the SRX broadcast split. This thing is not possible without their help. And big thank you to you, the viewer, for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next race when we take on, let's see what the next race is. when we go to Five Flags Speedway next Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you all there. My name is Garrett Hess. You're watching my YouTube channel.